Hi and welcome to the second lesson in the crime topic. This lesson we're going to look at data and crime. So hopefully by the end of this lesson you'll be able to identify and describe the main sources of data on crime. We're going to look at some of the patterns and trends of crime statistics, hopefully be able to explain what the dark figure of crime is, and compare and contrast different sociological perspectives on crime and statistics. So, as with all the previous lessons, feel free to work through this at your own pace, pause activities. You can also use the PowerPoints in the shared area as well to support you. So, as I start then, what do you think would happen if there was no police force? And try to go beyond just the word purge. So, try and expand on that. What would happen if there was no police force? So, one of the key things that the police force does do that most people don't think about is they are in charge of recording crime statistics, or some of them at least. So this lesson we're going to be looking at 3 different crime statistics. So we're going to be looking at official crime statistics, victim surveys, and self-report studies. So using a little bit of common sense, what do you think they might actually be? They are kind of common sensey. So the first one we're going to look at is going to be official crime statistics. This is basically recorded crime. So, from kind of 1902 to about the 1950s, there has been a gradual rise in recorded crime. From about the 50s to 80s, if you look at the graph, there was a steeper rise, followed by 80s to 90s, a kind of rapid increase. And then from the mid-90s to about 2005, there has been a kind of gradual decline. So, where do we get these statistics from? So, a lot of these official statistics are statistics that have been gathered by the police force. So, why would we use these official statistics? So, firstly, they're cheap and easily available. You can Google them. If you click on the link on the bottom on the PowerPoint, you can find out crime in your local area. They can show trends and changes over time, so because they've been gathered for a long period of time, you can see how crime rates might have changed. You can then compare crime in different areas and for different social groups. So again, you can look at crime in your area. If you go to the website police.uk, you can compare different areas and crime rates. It's obviously a huge amount of data which can be very useful, and it can be combined with other types of data, so like victim surveys, self-report studies, to give you quite a good overall picture of crime in a particular area. So, if you have a kind of think about our area where we are, what do you think the most popular crimes might be in Littleover? So, have a little think. So, again, this is using the police.uk website, and you can break this down by month and kind of see what crimes are the most common within those areas. So, within this area at this time, antisocial behaviour was quite a common one, as would be violence and sexual offences. Have a little think. Why do you think those crimes appear so highly in the crime statistics? So, have a little think to have a kind of suggestion. So, one of the main reasons why things like antisocial behaviour, violence and sexual offences appears quite highly in crime statistics is they're kind of an umbrella term in terms of there's lots of different activities that could be put into that category. So often they appear quite highly in the crime statistics. So violence and sexual offences isn't necessarily that there have been 51 violent crimes in that area. It could be lower level things as well that kind of fit into that category. So, yeah. Is there anything there that surprises you? I think often students seem to think that drug offences, possessions of weapons, things like that would be higher. But a lot of the time, they're not discovered. Like the police don't know about them. There might be drugs and things like this in those areas, but the police force may not be aware of them, so therefore they're not making them into official statistics. So, we've looked at the kind of positive side, so why would you use official statistics? But obviously there are bad things and issues with them. So the first one is that not all crime is detected. So the police don't know about all the crime that is happening. So for instance, some of you might have committed crimes, like lower level crimes. The police might not know about this. Then, not all crimes are reported. So again, I'm sure you can come up with a list, which we're going to look at now, of crimes and reasons why crimes are not reported. So some of these could be things like, here we go. So victims might fear the consequences. Victims might not trust the police. It might be kind of too low level. So somebody's banged my car door in the car park at Tesco's. I might not be going to the police about it, even if it is damaged. The crime might be too private or sensitive or traumatic. So again, there are reasons why people maybe from certain social groups, certain ethnicities, certain genders might not come forward to the police. So the key statistic here is that not all crimes reported. Only about 40% of offences are actually reported to the police. And then obviously whether they get recorded is a different matter. So they might not then be recorded by the police. So it might be that the reported crime is seen as too trivial, too low level, so the police are not going to follow through and investigate it. It might not actually be a crime. There's been cases where people have run the police complaining about their pizza hasn't had toppings on it and it's upside down and things like that. So, there are people who report things to the police that's not actually a crime. The victim might decide not to proceed with the complaint. So it might be, for instance, perhaps like domestic violence, things like that. They might decide not to pursue the claim. And the police might decide that there isn't enough evidence to actually follow this through, so may not actually record it into crime statistics. So the way to think about it is that if you imagine that 100 crimes have been committed, out of that 100 crimes, statistically, about 49% would actually contact the police. Then, out of those 49, the police would only actually respond to 37% of them. Then, out of those, on arrival, the police are only actually recognising 28 of them as actual crimes. Then, say, of these, 6 of the violent criminals were arrested. 3 would then, out of that percentage, would go to court. And only 1.5 would actually face a criminal sentence. So, in the grand scheme of crime, there is a lot of the crime that falls through the cracks. So, this is something that we like to call the dark figure of crime. And if you look at the iceberg picture, it's basically the top bit of the iceberg that you can see above the surface of the water is all the crime that we know about. This is stuff that is reported to the police, makes it into official crime statistics. All of the crime underneath is that kind of 51% or 52% of crimes that, the police are not even aware of. And actually, that figure could be a lot higher because there's so much crime then that, we're not even aware of that has happened. So, if we link this back into our theories, so what do each theory think about crime statistics, official crime statistics? So you've got functionalism, Marxism, interactionism, and feminism. So what I'd like to have a go at is try to match up the theory to what you think they would think about crime statistics. So again, just as a recap, think about what you already know about each of the theories. So are they going to see them probably in a positive light? Are they going to see them as being maybe linking into social class and inequalities or patriarchy? So have a little think, which one would you go with which? So pause and try and work it out. So answers are as follows. So first one would be feminism. So again, the keywords you should be looking out for would be things like underreporting of women as victims, women not coming forwards about certain kind of cases like rape, domestic violence, and also women being underrepresented in offending rates due to something called the chivalry factor, which we'll come on to in a future lesson. Next one would be functionalism. And again, they see it obviously as an accurate reflection of crime. They're presenting the information as what it is, and they play down the inaccuracies of crime statistics. We've then got interactionism, which is basically looking at how, some individuals are more likely to be labelled, more likely to be viewed as deviant and criminal, therefore more likely to be picked up in crime statistics. And then obviously we've got finally Marxism, which is linking into the idea that crime statistics are mostly focusing on working class offences and not really looking at some of the more white collar crimes committed by higher social classes. So this is a good point to kind of pause, have a little think. So far we've done official crime statistics. So how do they help us with understanding what crime deviance is? Can they be used as a means of social control? And what could be done to make crime statistics more accurate? So, if we check off that, so we've done our official statistics. Next, we're going to look at victim surveys. So, victim surveys. The most famous victim survey that you would need to know about for the exam would be the Crime Survey of England and Wales. So, you can abbreviate it. So, this is a large-scale survey. They can do smaller-scale ones focusing on local populations, but people are interviewed and asked what crimes have been committed against them. So, it kind of is what it says it is. It is a victim survey. So, the Crime Survey of England and Wales has been done since 1981, so it gives a good range of data over a long period of time. And it's an alternative to official statistics, but it could also be used with them as well to give a better picture. So, what I would like you to do as a kind of activity that you can have a go at is to create a victim survey. So, you're going to be asking other students in year 11 what kind of crimes they have been a victim of. Now, things that you need to think about, again, think about when we did research methods. Think about the types of questions that you want to be asking. Thinking about, sensitive topics, not causing harm. There's only, you've got to make sure that your participants are actually going to want to answer your questions. So think about how you design it. Minimum of 10 questions. So you might want to have a combination of open and closed questions. And again, think about your structure and wording of your questions. Are you making your meaning clear? Are you asking background questions like age, gender, location, so you could do comparisons? So think about how you would structure this like mini project. So if we were in lessons, we would then obviously we would analyse them, give feedback, and look at how we analyse results. A bit more difficult to do online, but yeah. So, advantages then and disadvantages of victim surveys. So, there are a range of statements here. Some are good things about doing victim surveys. Some are bad things about doing victim surveys. So, obviously, some key good things that you would want to bring out would be it can uncover the dark figure of crime, can give more of an accurate figure. It includes crime not reported to the police. Some of the negatives might be that people might still not admit to being victims. They might not be aware. Victims' memories might be inaccurate. So there are still disadvantages with using this method. Now, the final kind of research method that we could use for this would be self-report studies. So these are basically where you are asked what crimes you have committed. So, for example, there is a number of statements there. Which ones of the following would you admit to having committed in the last 2 years? So again, let's think about what are the good things and bad things about asking people to kind of admit what things they have done. So again, it could be a good thing that you might uncover a hidden figure of crime. However, people could lie, exaggerate. Again, it's a good way to kind of find out about victimless crime, so like illegal drug use. But, a lot of the crimes might be kind of low level and people don't really want to kind of admit to those. So, how do we link this then into research methods? So, often what I find is students use the words valid, reliable, representative, and kind of intermingle them. So, on the slide, I've put 3 definitions. Have a think which ones would be valid, which ones would be reliable, and which ones would show representativeness. So again, another little practice question that you can have a go at is looking at the information on item A, examine one strength of using official statistics. So what is one good thing about using official statistics? So I've given a sentence starter if you would like to use it, but it might be good to have a go at the practice question. And finally, here is a 12-mark question that you could use to give you some ideas. So discuss how far sociologists agree that official statistics do not reflect the true level of crime. So you've got to come up with 2 sides to the argument. Are official statistics a true reflection or are they not? And again, you've got to think, can you link in your theories to this? So it might be good to try and plan an answer to that question. So that is the lesson on data and crime. Please let me know if you have any queries or questions. Thanks so much. Bye.